There is a very interesting question I want to ask you today. What is the heaviest thing a human being can carry? Is it grief? Is it failure? Is it heartbreak? People will give many answers, but in my experience, in my observation, the heaviest thing any human being can carry is their own ego. Not because it weighs anything physically, not because you can put it on a scale and measure it, but because the ego creates an invisible weight that presses down on every relationship, every conversation, every opportunity, every moment of genuine connection in your life. Let me explain what ego really is. Ego is not confidence. Please understand this distinction clearly, because most people confuse the two. Confidence says, I am capable. Ego says, I am superior. Confidence says, I can do this. Confidence lifts you up. Ego puts others down. Confidence is rooted in self-awareness. Ego is rooted in self-deception. A confident person can admit mistakes, can accept feedback, can learn from others, can celebrate someone else's success without feeling threatened. An ego-driven person cannot do any of these things. Because for the ego, every admission of mistake feels like a defeat. Every piece of feedback feels like an attack. And every success of another person feels like a personal threat. Think about a cup. A full cup cannot receive anything new. No matter how wonderful what your offering is, no matter how valuable, how rare, how precious, the wisdom or the opportunity, if the cup is already full, nothing new can enter. The ego is exactly like a full cup. When your ego is inflated, when you walk into every room believing you already know everything, that you have nothing to learn, that your perspective is the only valid one, you become completely closed to growth. You become a full cup. And life keeps trying to pour beautiful things into you. Wisdom, new perspectives, deeper understanding, genuine connection. But your ego keeps everything from entering. Now, let's talk about humility. And I want to be very careful here, because humility is perhaps the most misunderstood quality in human character. Most people think humility means being weak. Most people think humility means allowing others to walk over you, agreeing with everything, never standing your ground, always putting yourself last. That is not humility. That is self-neglect. True humility is something entirely different. True humility is the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who knows their own worth so completely that they have nothing to prove to anyone. Humility is the strength of a person who is secure enough in themselves to learn from anyone, to acknowledge mistakes without feeling destroyed, to give credit without feeling diminished, to listen more than they speak. I love this example. The tallest trees in the forest bow in the wind. The strongest rivers run deep and quiet. It is the shallow streams that make the most noise. The truly great people in this world, the ones who have achieved something genuinely remarkable, the ones whose lives have created real impact, they are almost always humble, not because they are weak, not because they don't know their own value, but because greatness itself teaches humility. When you truly understand how vast this universe is, how much there is to know, how many perspectives exist beyond your own, the ego naturally shrinks and wonder naturally expands. Here is the paradox that will change everything when you truly understand it. The moment you drop your ego, you actually become more powerful, not less. Because when you no longer need to protect an image, when you no longer need to be the smartest person in the room, when you no longer need validation to feel worthy, you become completely free. Free to learn from everyone around you. Free to make mistakes without being shattered. Free to collaborate without competing. Free to genuinely celebrate others without jealousy. Free to be corrected without feeling humiliated. And that freedom, that beautiful liberating freedom, is where real growth lives. The ego builds walls, humility builds bridges. The ego isolates, humility connects. The ego demands respect. Humility earns it. The ego speaks, humility listens. And here is perhaps the most important distinction of all. The ego is always afraid, afraid of being exposed, afraid of being wrong, afraid of being seen as less. But humility has nothing to fear because humility has nothing to hide. So today I want to invite you to put down that heavy weight, not because it will make you less, but because releasing it will make you infinitely more. More open, more connected, more capable of genuine greatness. The empty cup receives everything. The bowed tree survives the storm. The quiet river runs the deepest. Choose humility, not as weakness, but as the highest expression of true strength. And watch how your life, your relationships, and your impact on this world transforms in the most beautiful and unexpected ways.